Right, should be live on YouTube. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Patrick Hawe. I'm an associated member of T3 Trading Group, which is a registered broker-dealer and member of FINRA SIPC. All trades placed by myself are placed through T3 Trading Group. You should carefully consider whether trading is suitable for you in light of your own financial condition. Please pause the video, read this disclosure. And position disclosure, only thing new is I sold Tel. They had bad news come out on Friday about their financing for their project that I've been looking for them to complete, and they're basically pushing it off because of the environment that we're in, more or less. So, yeah, I mean, bad news, got to adjust. So I sold that for a small loss, nothing crazy, but definitely gave up some profit and then ended up taking a loss in it. But risk reward was there, took the risk. It is what it is. Anyway, so markets today, I mean, they went down. I kind of want to say they went down, and I kind of want to say they didn't really do too much, although we did get this kind of sell program and closed near the lows today. But overall, it was more or less a bearishly time correction, bigger picture sideways, more or less sideways. So opened up fairly, we were fairly flat this morning, I believe, right? Maybe gapping down a little bit. But for the most part, from what I remember anyway, I think even by the open, yeah, so we were down a little bit, and then by the open, we pretty much rallied to around flat into the open or so. And then had a decent move off the open. So we're still in this area where, like we've been saying for, you know, extreme extension, more or less, for lack of a better word. We really want over 15 and really even better over $20 of extension from our daily ADMA. That's where all of our major extension bottoms for the year have happened, 15 to 20 plus, and the better ones have definitely been 20. So that'd be, under 360. Probably tomorrow this will be down to 375-ish or so. So sub 355 would be great. So we're definitely oversold. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of bad things going on out there. Rates have been screaming, and that is higher. Bonds lower, and that is continuing to be the case today. This TNX that we've been talking about, the 10-year, which we were saying if this makes a new high on the year, which it did last week, S&P should make a new low on the year. And this just blasted off through the high last week and is literally going parabolic at this point. I mean, this is going parabolic. Parabolic trends do end. This is, similar but different to the stock market, but for the most part, equilibrium, the rule, plays true here. This will see its EMA, its daily ADMA at some point again. But the bond market is a powerful thing, and first time I really saw like a crazy move in the bond market was COVID, and it's just you got to be very careful stepping in too early when a major kind of breakout like this happens, which that is what happened. Big consolidation in front of this 3.5, and now very quickly we're on our way to 4%. 4 is a pretty, just looking at this technically, which somewhat matters, 4 is a pretty big level. And then you start to get even looser up until 5. So I don't know, we'll see. But this, it is going parabolic. You got to be careful stepping in a little bit too early, even if it's just by a couple days. And so that's not chilling out. While the market did sort of chill out today, did definitely go down, but nothing, more extreme than what we saw the past few days. That just worries me and makes me think we can get the more extreme extension that I'm looking for. We'll see. I've been saying it's not about when the VIX is up like this and the market's really rangy. You really got to be careful trading SPYs and Qs, the indexes, for trying to make 50 cents or $1 on them. There definitely are times where you can, and you probably should do that. But here I really think it's better to think what's the next 5, what's the next 10 up or down, And where we are with this extension, where we are extended, but we're not to the point of extreme extension like we have been at literally every single other bottom this year. I'm not not that I'm ever 100% sure, but I can't, pretty much based on my models or whatever, I can't be certain enough that the next 10 is up to 375 and not down to 355. But if we're at 355 and we are $20 extended, that will check off for saying, okay, I do think the next 10 is up to 365 and not down to 345. Not that that can't happen, but you start to get, that's extreme. So once you start to get too extreme one way, it will stop at some point. It's not like rates are just going to go to the moon straight up. But rates, and then the dollar is the other big concern here. That is also a very powerful force. And while this will stop and it will correct back down, this is kind of crazy. And you just got to be a little, when it gets really crazy, you got to let the craziness play out. Like, even though it's like when AMC and GameStop short squeeze, like, it's gonna stop, but you just kind of like got to let the craziness play out until it's really dumb. I don't know really how else to say it, because that's just kind of how it goes. But so this is scary and this is powerful stuff, and I'm just trying to be, this seems like it's crazy. It's like mid craziness, so I'm trying to just let that play out a little bit more. But yeah, so dollar rates. And the VIX is up, but not really coming down, right? It definitely went up today. I'm sure it made a bit of a move into the close. But, gapped up and didn't exactly explode higher, but still a very, for the most part, a bullish, so like market bearish time corrected today. For the most part, more or less a bullish time correction here at 32 VIX. When in the past, this 30 plus 32 to 35 area has been the sell point. So if we get that $20 of extension to the downside, maybe that's when we also, excuse me, actually see real more capitulation like action. We actually do get that VIX 40, even 45, 50. Who knows? But yeah, there's just nothing really there that really makes me feel like we could, the next 10 is up, not down. And it certainly could be. Like, it certainly could be wrong on that. If I'm going to be wrong on that, though, then we do have 370. And that does pretty well line up with 3,700. If you just look at, like, XPX here, this 5-minute chart. If we trade back up through 3,700... sure, like the next 50 handles are probably up, not down. But we gotta, we really gotta clear levels here. We definitely could buy on the way back up. We are extended enough to do that. Although, I suppose 370, you're starting to lose your reward the more you don't get more extended, but trade down, right? But still, there's definitely levels to buy up through. Even probably 365 or so. Maybe 368. I don't know. We'll see where we trade tomorrow. But, so that's that. I'm trying to think of what. I feel like I had one other point to make. The dollar rates. Just the VIX being elevated, I guess, too, as well. Being elevated, but not trading back down. Which we've seen that before too, where this stays elevated and then just does eventually trade back down. Like, it kind of builds out, but then just doesn't have its next leg up, and that's given us a couple of bear market rallies this year as well. But yeah, so overall things look bad, and they look like they could get worse before it gets better. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And I don't know. We'll see. We could just blip the year lows and trade right back up. There will be levels to buy up through. But I don't know. We'll see. The rates. This is probably the scariest thing to me is the rates move. That 10-year chart is just like very, very powerful, and it just gives me like PTSD of COVID when bonds were ripping. That's when rates were plunging, so they were going the other way. But I mean, this is powerful stuff. And I don't think I'm ready to say this is going to go down tomorrow, right? Like, this could definitely have a day 4, day 5, or something like that. So that's kind of overall my feelings of why I know we're oversold, I know we're extended, but I haven't really even stepped in to buy too much yet. Definitely been intraday trading, but in terms of swings, I just really don't feel. I don't feel it yet. I don't know. But again, we definitely could trade back up. We could trade up through 370 and go to 375 for sure. So if we do it, then we do it. But if we don't, we'll see. So that's the markets overall, and that's kind of what I'm watching for. I mean, I don't know how they'll gap us tomorrow. It looks like they should gap us down, so we'll see how they gap us tomorrow as well. But that's kind of my overall feelings for everything and kind of what I'm looking for. Oh, I did also say 3,400 support for the market. So I guess I'll just show you guys where I'm getting that from the bounces throughout this year, which just, I don't know, looking at this, just once you've seen enough over time, you've seen what charts can do, and when you line it up with sentiment, you see charts bounce, and then sometimes you see charts that look really bad, and then they get worse before they get better. And this just, I don't know, kinda is looking like that to me. I'm not saying we're gonna plunge right to 3,400. I'm just mentioning it because that's kind of where I'm getting this trend line from. I did a little bit of chart history and was looking at the 2008 era, because that's the big thing going on is rates, right? That's why it's like this 12-year, 14-year bull market is kind of ending, which was definitely powered by FANG in a big way. I was doing, and not that I'm saying, we're about to have like this or anything, so I really don't think so. We're not levered up like we were back then. But I was kind of looking at this where, say this is 3650 and maybe we go like sub 3500 here, and then we have a bounce back, and then we'll, I don't know, we'll see. I definitely don't think we're in like a real crisis type situation. But at the same time, I was just doing a little bit of, because this is similar to what we had just now as well. This is when we bounced up to the 200-day recently and then came back down. So it makes, and in times like this when the VIX is high, it makes sense. You tend to overshoot. If you're newer, you might just not know that, but in crazier times you tend to overshoot. So I guess I'm like anticipating an overshoot, as opposed to just like a perfect, this is support and this is where we should hold. But I just wanted to share that's where I got that trend line from, 3,400. And that chart, it looks similar. So I could see us overshooting the year low and then having, I'm looking for a bounce. I'm just looking to start it lower. I'm not saying like we're plunging to zero. I'm looking for a bounce. And if we do go something like 3,500, we could have a bounce to like 3,700, right? Like that's a 200 handle bounce. It's pretty good. So we'll see. But yeah, I think those are really all of my thoughts. And for trades today, definitely the best trades were the casinos. I mean, there's news this morning. We are always on top of the news in the morning, so we were on top of the news, and it was pretty good news about over in Macau. So, Win 65 was a level that paid. A lot of these did round off a bit though. Definitely markets not helping there, but Win 65. The thing I shouting out to, which we definitely know to do, but if you don't know, if you're newer or whatever, this is really something to watch for when you're playing or I guess just off the open, when you're playing a daily level with news and you're saying, okay, this stock is in play today because of whatever earnings or a headline or something, this usually is not uncommon for the volume to be big. I mean, that's what you want, right? So when these casinos have been doing like nothing and then all of a sudden they're in the news, they're gapping up a lot, So you're not sure. I think someone asked me this morning too. Like you're not sure about just buying right away when it's gapping up so big, but that's the signal to watch for that, to give you like an okay to do that is volume. And usually within the first like 3 minutes before this 5 minutes bar is even closed, usually in the first 2 to 3 minutes, that volume bar is already going to be significantly more than anything else it's done in the past few days. So win 65. We had LVS 38, I think, as well for that. I mean, all of these worked, and then some of them rolled over a bit. 38, 39 or so. That LVS started to go pre-market, and then this MLCO 6 as well. Pretty much opened right at 6, and same thing, just kind of went. So Casino's good, and Apple 150 broke this morning and held, which this is just a big key level too. If SPY is going to go sub 360, sub 3600, this Apple is going to lose this 150 and have a decent move. And I think this is like pretty true too, if we're going to hold the year lows and see a rally like tomorrow where, we're not going to go lower and we're going to rally back to lower 370s, which is definitely possible, a rally back to lower 370s and still staying bearish. Then this Apple probably holds 150. So this Apple 150 is super key to watch. And yeah, I think that's everything. So happy to answer any questions you guys want. Give me 1 second, I'm going to take a sip of water. Alright, yeah, happy to answer any questions. Let me pull up YouTube as well. Anyone have any questions or no questions? Did I scare you guys too much? I didn't mean to sound super scared. I'm very excited for this. I'm excited to buy. I just am trying to be a bit tactical about it. I mean, I'm definitely exhausted too, for sure. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. We've been pretty patient. I definitely think I've been pretty patient myself. And when things get bad, the market is gonna bottom. Markets bottom. I don't want to say like for simply when things look the worst, but like it's kind of true. As much as we will need the Fed for help, we're gonna need the Fed's help for a bull market run, but not for a bottom. The bottom, usually it's capitulation, and usually it's when capitulation is when people are forced to sell. They don't want to sell. They want to keep the stock, but they need to. They need to raise cash, or their loss is too big, or whatever. So that is an opportunity. So we haven't seen signs of it yet, but definitely starting to look for it. And some of the other the rates thing and the VIX and everything, that's what can cause those forced selling events where you get like a wave of forced selling. That forced selling's done, and you pop right back up, and that's the low. So as much as I, don't want to bottom pick, I'm more trying to bottom zone than bottom pick, at least for a reversal, a retracement, and then we'll see if that ends up being it or not. We'll see, who knows. The market's going to bottom, most likely, in my opinion, when everything really look terrible. I don't know. We'll see what 2023 is going to look like. I'm really not sure, but I do think it's very likely that even if we do have this recession in 2023, which seems probable, the market will be going up, or at least definitely will have bottomed already before the recession's actually bad. Because we will have priced it in, and the market's a forward-looking thing, and by that point, if things really do get like that, I'm sure the Fed will have already paused, and if anything, maybe even look to pivot at that point. They're hiking a lot, so they'll be, hiking 75 at a time, I don't know, it could cut 25 or something. Definitely not. I'm not an economist or anything like that. I'm just kind of like thinking out loud. But so the Fed would probably be on our side, and market would be forward looking and looking ahead of what's going on currently. So we're forward looking right now at the bad things that are coming, because they do seem to be coming for sure. But again, markets are forward looking. So, and I remember that back in June, around the June low, when I'm pretty sure the Wall Street Journal had like a front line headline about recession that day. So we'll see, but definitely looking for a bounce, definitely looking for a retracement. I just think it could be 10 lower. I really think we should look for a 15 to 20 plus of extension, and we'll see. But if I'm wrong, I'm hesitant to really throw a level out under 370. But the daily 80 MA is at 376, so we could definitely we could bounce to 374 tomorrow, literally tomorrow. If we're gonna do that, we're gonna trade up through 370, so you can buy through 370 and make some money. But we could literally bounce to 374 tomorrow. I could be wrong about being patient. Definitely not afraid to buy on the way up. But it's got to be confirmed, because this intraday, it's very hard on this intraday. If you're trying to make like 50 cents or $1, it seems 50-50 with working and then getting smacked back down. So we'll see. But definitely keep in mind, what's the next 5, what's the next 10, up or down. If you're not sure, then wait. So yeah. Can we review how you scale into a position on the way down on an extension? In terms of sizing, given that you don't have a firm stop. Yeah, so the right way to do it is to it can be scary for sure, but the right way to do it is to get heavier in further extension. It's so like, say, even when extension always corrects itself through price or time, but even when it's through time, you do still get bounces. Like, I don't know, this was kind of upside extension here with the time correction, but even in this time correction, you still had a 410 to 415 5-point range that traded back and forth pretty well. So it's really just, saying, okay, we're 20 extended, you could get a $20 move just to get to the 80 MA. Therefore, you think the next 10 is up, not down. I'm going for a 10-point move. And that's when you would do like a tier 1. So say like your max, I would say like pick a max size for yourself and then never let yourself get to it ever. Because if you do and you're still a little bit too early, like, you're kind of toast. And that I've done that many times, and lost big money. So say your max position's like, I don't know, just like 1,000 shares to keep the math simple. You'd start at, say, 200. Say your $20 extended tomorrow at 355. Your max position size is 1,000 shares. You never really want to let yourself get to that. So you would start at like 200 at 355 when the daily 80 MA is at 375, and you think you can get a move back to 365. You'd start like 200 at 355, and then you do another 200 at 350. If it went straight down, it's got to be straight down into it. And then you could even do like 400, like even a bigger size tier at extreme extension down into 345. And then you do that, you're being pretty good with that execution because you are doing it $20 plus whatever in extension. If you, like, say you do that and you don't get this bounce and this ends up being a bear flag, I promise you're still going to get 2, 3, 4, 5-point bounces. This was a pretty slow time correction here, and that was a $5 range. So you're definitely going to get bounces. It's going to be chances to sell. That's why on like that extreme extension stuff, you can't be too greedy with on the way up because it still could turn into a time correction. But if you buy 355 and it goes straight down to 350 and you buy more, You buy 355 and it jumps to 357, 358. Take a little bit off even if you only had 200. Take a little bit off. Hope you're wrong. Lock some profit in. Hope you're wrong. And if you're not wrong, then you make a little bit of money. That's not bad. It's kind of like a bad problem to have, I guess. So the key really is just, you gotta work the extension, so to say. Because things don't just go straight down and straight up, right? They do trade around. So you gotta kind of work the extension and work the intraday extension while keeping that bigger picture daily extension in mind, which helps you not sell all of it too early as well. When you don't know, that's a good question. You kind of got to do the math with if I bought X amount of shares here and then I bought X amount of shares here, $5 lower, how much would I be down? And then my size would be this, how much would I be down if it went another 5 straight down, and then yada, yada, yada. But this 20, I'm using this $15 to $20 threshold because it's a pretty good threshold, and we've done enough analysis on it. I'm sure, I could go back. If you go back too far, it's not going to be $15 to $20 because then SPY is going to be trading in a lot, smaller, whatever dollar notional. So that 15 to 20 would be a significant increase in percentage. So it wouldn't be the same. You'd have to use like a smaller dollar size back then, but this is just going off more recent times. So you're saying in $20, and the point of extension is you're saying $20 extension, the next 10's probably up, not down, but that's why you leave room, because could it get 25? Could it get $30 extended? Yes. Could it get $40 extended? Maybe. That'd be like crazy. But just, I don't know. Anything's possible. Like SPY $50 extended. There'd have to literally be a credit crisis going on or something like that to get insane like that. If you go all the way back to the actual crisis here, at one point it was at 100 and this got down to 85, so that's what, like 15% extended. At the low it wasn't even too bad, and then down here it wasn't too bad, but it probably was worse on the weekly because this is like a multi-week move. And then down here you were at 85 and it's down to 75, so not too much in percentage. So it's just like it's literally a fact that you're gonna correct to the extension, and you just got to be realistic. Like $20 extended, could you get 30? Yes. But we just did analysis there. 30 points on SPY would be 10%. In the worst extension in the Great Financial Crisis, we were roughly 15% extended, and we're not in that same situation. So you gotta have like faith. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? You just gotta have faith. Even in that whole financial crisis move too, which the chart looks like this. Basically, that financial crisis chart looks like we bounce. The way it would look like if it happened again is we would go to like 340, 350 now, bounce to 370, 380, and then we would roll over to like 280 to 260 or something like that. But even in that whole process, there were still plenty of bounces. I'm sure some of the biggest bounces ever in history were on single bounce days during that time. So, yeah, you just kind of got to have faith and know that as extreme as things can get, it's probably not gonna break. So, hope that makes sense. Yeah, we're definitely getting close, Mark. We're definitely getting close. I'm looking for it. Like, I really am looking for it. I'm just trying to be careful because there are some scary things going on. And it's not just the VIX. Like, the rates is scary to me. The dollar is scary to me. It just, looks really bad and kind of looks and feels like it might get a little worse before it gets better, but we'll see. We're definitely getting close, though, to a bounce. I don't know, probably not too early to talk about bottoms, but at least a good bounce. Any other questions, or you guys all exhausted? It's only Monday, so actually I got a couple YouTube questions. Are you more leaning into fundamental to bring bulls, or would be enough for you just sort of technical? Well, the technicals is why I'm staying a little patient, because we're not $20 extended, 15 to 20 plus. So that's all technical. Fundamentals, we're getting there. I think some of the better fundamentals to really look to start buying would definitely be like under 340 would be good. 3,200, and then it would get to like, again, things can overshoot, right? Just because my Google Chrome stopped working, but just because you get to fair value doesn't mean you just magically bottom. I'm seeing multiple times the market get to fair value and then get cheaper and cheaper because of the other factors that are going on, and again, people are forced to sell, yada yada. So we'll see, but probably like 3,200, 3,400 area is good, but that doesn't mean we couldn't really overshoot. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. My Google Chrome is like freezing right now. I hope you guys can still hear me. But I'm stuck on the YouTube page and I can't get back to the VTF. Oh wait, maybe... There we go. And then there was one other YouTube question. You bought TEL after it halted on Friday. I still have some looking on the inside day and up tomorrow. Would you add if that happens? Or be selling the... so you got a good price. I would keep it. Technically speaking, I would probably get rid of that back under 2 for a win. I don't think... It's just delaying something that I was really looking for to happen by the end of the year, and it probably is delaying it in a decent way. So again, I don't think the company is totally screwed or anything like that. They're just delaying funding because of things that are going on right now. So I still don't think it'd be a bad idea to trade around a core position in this. I just don't want to focus on it too much now that that event risk is out of the way. And it's out of the way in a bad way, unfortunately, but it's out of the way. And that was part of the reason why I was really trying to keep it with this market coming down. So if I were you, you have a really good price. So I would just keep it and, probably back under 2, something like that. Just take it off and you got to win and... just move forward. But yeah, that's probably what I would do if I were you. Nice buy though. Nice price. A fundamental question: do you think inflation is close to the top? We all noticed some prices. Yeah, I do think it's close to the top. If not, the top is already in for the most part. The problem really that I've been thinking about, and even I think this is probably going to start to die down too, but the problem's not really that it keeps going up in a big way, even though last month it did, which was scary, is that it's just like sticky too, right? But at some point, demand should come down, and that should really like do the trick, which demand hasn't come down too much yet. So we'll see, but I'm definitely no economist, but I do think that inflate. But again, too, it's a process. Like, that doesn't mean it's just going to shoot right back down to 2%. So it's definitely going to be a long process still. But yeah, should be just about there. All right, well, I'm definitely already a bit tired for Monday myself as well, but everyone go to bed early, get some rest, eat a good dinner, and we'll be back tomorrow to keep fighting the fight. And we'll see if we get more extension or not. We'll see. But yeah, have a good night, everybody. See you guys tomorrow.